Yeah, 2001, I was turning 30 and my girlfriends had a party and they all bought French champagne. And we're sitting there drinking French champagne because all three of them had purchased a house that month. And I was earning $400 a week. So here I was drinking this French champagne with my three girlfriends thinking they're all 30. They've all just bought a house. I definitely don't have a house, but I have a creative job. So
Yeah.
I had the best job out of all of us, but I was getting the least amount of money. So I was like, okay, I think I'm going to have to start a business. So I actually freelanced for 2 years before I started my business because I just had no idea. I knew how to take photos and I knew how to make people feel good. I just didn't know how to own a business. 2 years of freelancing, my rent got paid, but I didn't have anything in the bank. Nothing, didn't like just barely scrape by, but I was fed and watered and I could live. And then in 2003, I think I just did like this thing where I was like, you need to focus on this. You need to take this seriously. You need to do this with less fear. And I just opened my studio then. So the first year was then we did like $500,000 in turnover and gross turnover. And then we just keep building up.
Your first year you did $500,000?
Yeah. But it wasn't my first year because I started in 89 and this is 2003. So if you want to look at me as an overnight success, go for it. But it certainly felt like 15 years to me. So yeah, I had an amazing folio. I just couldn't sell it. I couldn't receive money for my craft because I was filled with guilt and shame and I just didn't have any value. I didn't have product value. I didn't have self-value. I didn't have any value of the skill that I had. And that's what I had to work on.
So you had a hard time just asking people to spend the money.
Dude, my boss could sell my work for $7,000 and I couldn't get $400 for the same work. It was clear to me. It was I was the problem. I am the poison. I am the antidote. It's always you. It's always you. You think it's not, but if you're feeling it, it's you. So look at it because you're lying to yourself and you're certainly lying to me. And then I would just sort of broke through it. I decided that I needed to stop talking in my sales. I presented the price list and I came from more of an energy of make sure they're educated and connected beforehand. Then when they would have their shoot, I would give them an incredible experience. For me, it's about relationship building. Then I would get to the end, I'd come back for their viewing, and I just simply took away all of my paralysis with a really simple phrase. These are my price lists. This is my price list. These are my products. And these are your beautiful images. Let's go through and select the ones you would like. And then I stopped talking.
Yeah.
Because then they would just buy. And like there was this one day where I just decided this was my new thing. I would say it even though I had a lump in my throat and I felt like somebody literally kicked me in the chest. Like I was saying it out loud and they were saying yes. And so it took me a long time to work through my guilt and shame and lack of value. It took a long time to get there.
Yeah.
By the time, and then I just think you go up in increments, like push it up, push your average up, but just keep driving on your average sale and just keep focusing on you and what you're putting out there because it's you.
So interesting. I mean, that was at a time too where there was no Creative Live. There were no Sue Bryce classes teaching you how to value yourself. There was no education around that subject beyond just general sales books that you could probably pick up. So what do you think the shift was in your, like what made you try it?
Well, I had two profound, like kind of freaky experiences. I was outsourcing myself as a retoucher to teach photographers how to do retouching. That was my outsourcing for 2001 and 2. I went to a very successful studio, female photographer, owner, single. She was also a super Christian. She was so fun. I would go there and she would always open the door and say something about me and Jesus. And I would go and work with her. And she was just so lovely towards me. But she gave me a gift. She actually told me that you're talking too much, you're driving sales away. What you need to do is say, these are my products, this is my price list, and what would you like to purchase, and then stop talking. So she told me that phrase, and that really changed my business. And then she gave me a free gift of a session with a personal business like mentor. Mm-hmm. And he basically sat me down and said, so your boss can sell your work for $7,000 and you can't sell it for $400. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, he's stealing from you. And I was like, oh my gosh, I instantly got like defensive. And he was like, here, before you get upset about that, you're allowing it to happen. So let's talk about it. And he just talked me through asking for more. And he told me to ask for more and come back in a month. And I came back with exactly the task he set me, no more and no less. And that was the lesson. He looked at me and he said, what did you set out to do? And I said, I handed in my notice. I have $2,000 cash and a Canon 10D. And he looked at me and he said, look at you go. Exactly what you asked for. No more and no less. So he sent me out a month to come back with those three things. And that's what I came back with, to prove to me that you get exactly what you ask for and exactly what you step up to receive. And it's no more and no less than what you ask for.
Yeah. Sometimes,
so be really careful what you're focused on.
It's interesting how there's these moments where, and I don't think these people realize it at the time. None of us realize it at the time, but there's these moments of profound impact that we all experience where somebody says something, they graciously offer a half hour or an hour of their time and give you a critique or a lesson that profoundly changes everything.